right. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to the Fighting Spinal here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Matty B on the call. Phillies had an opportunity to really build some momentum going into an interesting series tomorrow starting in Milwaukee by sweeping out the Braves. And, again, I think I should start this show by saying, is anybody surprised about the offensive inability to hit, score runs, move runners along? It's like being in an abusive relationship, man. And I know that maybe that's not the best thing to say about this team, especially offensively. They tease you. They make you feel good. They hit 7 home runs in a game. They score 19 runs, and then they go off over the next 3 games and put clinics on how not to play offensively. It's very frustrating. And I don't know. I don't. Again, you guys know me by now. I take the pessimistic side of things a lot, especially when it comes to Philadelphia sports. But there's nothing with this team that tells me they're going to win a World Series. And the whole, they're built for October. No, they're not. They are so not built for October. And how can you look at the way this team goes about its offensive day-by-day operations and think that this team is going to win a World Series? And everyone defaults back to, well, it's about them getting hot. I mean, duh. It's about everybody getting hot to win a World Series. But that's not going to do it, man. They have no consistency, no sense of urgency. They lack something. And I honestly, and maybe that's the most frustrating part about it, I cannot put my finger on what this team lacks. It's simply put as there's just not, they're the wrong types of players that are on this team. They got to get rid of some of these guys and just to mix it up, just to see what somebody else could do batting alongside of Bryce Harper or batting alongside of Trey Turner. Because on paper, they got good offensive players. It just does not come out consistent enough. As the Phillies fall tonight 3-1, do take 3 out of 4 from the Braves. Finish the month of August. I was saying October last night for some odd reason, but finish the month of August 18-11, their best month win-loss wise since May, and that's a positive. But you got to look at the holistic picture here, and that's winning in October, man. And I don't see it. 19 runs on Thursday, and I think they scored like 7 the rest of the series. And the 2 through 5 positions in this lineup over the last 2 nights, and I just looked at this for over 2 nights. I didn't go back and look at it all the way. Over the last 2 nights, the batters 2 through 5 in the Phillies lineup collectively have gone 3 for 34. That's an 88 batting average. That's an 88 batting average from the heart of your order. 2 through 5, 3 for 34. What the hell is that? And that's a World Series contending team? 3 for 34, batters 2 through 5 over the last 2 games, wasting another solid pitching performance tonight by Jesus Luzardo. And they fall 3-1 to the Braves. Now up next is the Brewers, and welcome to the Fighting Spinal. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. It's great to be with you on this Sunday night. Big show tonight. We're going to go over this game. We're going to vent, and we're going to air out our frustrations. And we're also going to do Down on the Phillies farm segment as we're getting to the stretch run of the minor leagues as well. Some teams in the Phillies system, well, at least one of them, has got a legitimate shot of qualifying for the playoffs. So we're going to get into some Down on the Phillies farm. Some roster decisions have been made by the Phillies. Walker Buehler is coming. The recently released pitcher from the Boston Red Sox has signed a minor league deal with the Phillies. He will go to AAA for a start, and then he's, I guess, tentatively penciled in to start. That's was it the 12th against Kansas City here at home. So obviously a depth move for the postseason to help out this rotation. Now that we're not going to have Zach Wheeler, so we'll get your opinions on that. Garrett Stubbs has also been given the green light to return, as tomorrow the rosters will expand from 26 to 40. Nah, I know it's not to 40 anymore. I miss those days. I miss those days when they blow the roster out from like 25 to 40. I really wish they would go back to that. And actually, if you think about it, if they still did that, this would be a great opportunity to see Andrew Painter. You know what I mean? Gabriel Cones Jr., Otto Kemp, all those players that have been sort of making a name for themselves down at AAA all season long. This would be an opportunity if we were still blowing the rosters out to 40 in September to give those guys a look at. But, of course, we already know that it goes from 26 to 28, and one of those roster spots have been guaranteed to Garrett Stubbs. Why we need a third catcher on this team at this particular moment in time? Search me. And why do we need Garrett Stubbs? Search me. I don't understand that move at all. Why can't we bring a positional player? Or, hey, how about another pitcher? They've been known to work out too. But Garrett Stubbs is going to be rejoining the Phillies as we enter September. And September, God damn, man, what has happened to my baseball season? But rosters will go out from 26 to 28 tomorrow. So a lot to get into. Let's get on to your comments first, as you guys have been sort of blowing me up a little bit. Eagles fan in the leadoff spot. I'm done with this team. He got swept. Unbelievable. I think, are you being facetious? Just once can the inconsistent team score 4 to 8 runs for 3 straight games? Are they capable of this? They ain't going to be they ain't going to be a Braves to snap you out of a slump. Yeah. And I get it, but the Braves kind of put the Phillies back in a slump. You take those 19 runs off the board in game one. As I said, I think they scored like 6 runs the rest of the way. That's not going to get it done against the upper crust of the National League, Steve. I got you there, man. 100%. And yes, to answer all your questions that you have here, I don't know. And I can't give you an answer. I guess maybe the answer is in the pudding. No, they haven't proven they can. And that's the answer. Again, I'm not giving you the big homer answer like, they'll be fine. They'll get hot in October. I know I'm not going that profound with you, Steve, but the best I can do is no, because they haven't proven it. We got swept by the Brewers. Jose did not help. Jose was not good. Kirkering was not good. Jesus Luzardo was good. But you got to, come on, Star Wars, you got to give him more than 1 run to work with here. Come on, man. 3 runs should not be the difference of losing a game to the Atlanta Braves in 2025. It shouldn't be. You should be able to score more than 1 run to help out your bullpen. You never feel comfortable going into a late game situation in the major league level with a 1-run lead, and that lead is 1-0. Come on, man. I mean, we got to be a little realistic here. You got to give them a little bit more help than that. But they didn't pitch well. Yes, but I am not hanging this on the bullpen. No. Not hanging this on the bullpen. Nor am I, of course, hanging it on the starting pitching. I'll hang it on where I've been hanging it for the last 3 years. This offense. As I mentioned, 3, what is it? What's that number? I wrote it down. 3 for 34. Your number 2 through 5 hitters in this lineup over the last 2 games. 3 for 34. That is an 88 batting average, a .00 or .088 batting average. Amazing. Mickey, what is up, man? How are you tonight? We allow the Mets to stay at 6 games. Yeah, Star Wars. They had a chance, and of course you got to get help. When you don't control your own fate, you had to get some help there from the Marlins. They could not finish off the Mets, so the Mets come out of this weekend, basically gaining a game. Right? They went into the week with down by 7. They come out of the week down by 6. So is that a win for the Mets? Of course, it's one less game they got to worry about. But as I've alluded to in the very recent past, this is not about the Mets. It's never been about the Mets specifically. It's been about them playing in pressure situations. And it just happened to be the Mets that they went up against last week in a playoff-like environment, and they came up extremely short. Now, I don't know how you equate what happened over the weekend. And yeah, they won 3 out of 4. But of course, I'm going to look at this from both sides. Obviously, you come out of the series with winning 3 out of 4. That's great. You should have swept them. It's the Atlanta Braves. I'll take the 3 out of 4. But when you look at the style points, and yeah, I am looking at the style points. When you look at how they kind of dinked and dunked their way past the Braves, does it give you the confidence? Does it give you that killer championship instinct that they're going to go out and handle their business against the Mets, the Brewers, Sorry, the Dodgers, the Padres, teams like that. No, it doesn't. It concerns the hell out of you, and it should. It's very concerning, this offense. Like, seriously, can this ever happen? They have no ability to hit with any type of Steve. Steve, look who you're talking to, man. I've been banging the inconsistent bell for a better part of what, since 2023, and I got looked at like I was a crackpot. Now a lot of y'all are starting to come along to my way of thinking, and again, it's not because I want them to lose, nor is it because I think they are going to lose. It's just that I stick my face in a fan too many times. I'm going to start not doing that because it hurts. Well, no, we gotta switch things up, man. You gotta make some changes. And I know you're not doing it on September 1st, but heading into the offseason, regardless if you win a World Series at this point, which they're not, but for theoretic sake, let's say they rally and they find their way to a World Series championship. There's still a lot of holes in this team that need to be filled. And you got to change things around. You got to change the offensive DNA of this baseball team. And does that mean saying goodbye to Kyle Schwarber? I don't know. You could take that money you're going to sign Schwarber and sign a couple of 3 players offensively that could drastically change the DNA of this team. Oh, maybe you don't have a 50 home run hitter, but maybe you got 3 guys that bat 260, 270, who can drive runners in, who know how to play contact baseball, who can lay down a sac bunt and, God forbid, execute a sac fly. Maybe you actually add more runs to your lineup, subtracting Kyle Schwarber. So these are serious conversations this team is going to have. Bringing Kyle Schwarber back, or maybe trying to replace him with 3 guys that could maybe change the DNA of your team offensively. Nothing personal against Schwarber. He's had a great year. But where are we headed? Where are we headed? I hate being a Phillies fan. I'm not doing much celebrating about it lately either. Delaney says, hi, Eagles fan. Kerkering is not high leverage guy. Enough with this guy in the 8th. Put him in lower leverage where he can succeed. Deer in headlights. Look, yeah, I think you might be right. And it's a shame because stuff-wise, he has it, but maybe he just doesn't have it upstairs. And I'm starting to relent my stance on Kerkering. I thought, especially earlier on in his career, the first, year and a half, he had closer written all over him. But maybe it's just not in his genetics. I don't know. But, who is your 8th inning guy, especially moving into the postseason when you can't have Alvarado to give up the lead, to give up the home runs there. I mean, who is your 8th inning guy? And I get it. I'm not sitting here telling you wrong. It just hasn't really clicked for Kerkering in those situations. And it doesn't click for him in the 5th inning either when you bring him in with the bases loaded. So I don't know what you're doing with Kerkering at this point. I really don't. You're going to have to ride with him at this point. But going forward, is that an area that needs to be addressed? I'm just saying you're right. I think you're absolutely right, Steve. Joe, what's going on? The Phillies are worse than the Rockies. They ain't that bad. Luzardo pitched well. I think he pitched extremely well. Pitches were working. The slider was sliding. The slurving was slurving. It was a really good effort by him. But you really do have to help him out. You have to help him out. You have to help your bullpen out. Man, you've got to score more than 1 friggin' run. And your 2 through 5 hitters have been criminally inconsistent over the last 2 nights. As I mentioned, 3 for 34 has been the 2 through 5 hitters in your lineup over the last 2 nights for an 88 batting average. And you got to do more to help you. You got to do more to help them out. Tip your hat to Drake Baldwin. That's a very solid piece of hitting against the power lefty. I'm okay with Jose as Kirk that deer in the headlights. So listen, you might be okay with Jose, but you got nothing with Jose in the postseason. He's not eligible. So I hear what you're saying, but I got to look at October now. Who am I putting in the 8th inning in October? You may have no choice but to do Kerkering. It ain't Robertson. Can you go with Robertson, or do you put the Taijuan Walker in the 8th inning in the postseason? Your converted starter that can come in and pitch 1 inning and throw 99 miles an hour through 1 inning. So I don't know. I don't know, man. At least the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Yeah, well, that's about to be. When do you start referring to the Eagles as the defending Super Bowl champions? Is that not until kickoff on Thursday? Kirk is an early season low leverage dude that can get some work done, but please stop with this guy in the 8th inning late enough. But okay, then where do you put him at? I'm not saying you're wrong, but where do you put him at? I mean, doesn't seem to work in any kind of situation right now. And it's, is it coaching? Does he need a new voice? Is Gotham's voice not getting through to his head? Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I'm not arguing here with you. Not at all. Rob Blow. You can't blame this on Rob Thompson. Come on. Dante Nori is killing it, 485 with 11 stolen bases in 6 games. Sure. Yeah. Why am I even a Phillies fan? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's because all this suffering that you do, all this back and forth that happens, pays off when they actually win a World Series. Now, I'm not saying they're winning it this year, and I don't think they are, but one of these days, before we all die, they're going to win again, and it's going to make it all worth it. And that's why you're a Phillies fan, and you couldn't root for anybody else because it just doesn't seem right. Trey is starting to hit. Trey's been hitting all season, Joe Hale. Not starting to. He's been hitting all season. And Joe and the Phillies lose. It makes me laugh. Yeah. Banks came up big. Yeah. What about the Walker Buehler signing, as his injury-ridden career had only 2 double-digit win seasons? Listen, Papernick, it's not a long-term signing. I mean, they're not pinning their hopes on Walker Buehler. This is a depth move for the postseason. This is an insurance policy for a pitcher who has recent postseason experience. I mean, he pitched the final outs of last year's World Series. He knows how to do it in that environment. This is an insurance policy. I know the Phillies are going to use him as a starter throughout the rest of the regular season. They're going to go to a 6-man rotation. What the role of Walker Buehler is in the postseason, I don't know, but this is a depth move and an insurance policy. This is a win-win for the Phillies, really, honestly, at this point. They needed someone to sort of step in the breach and fill the shoes of Zach Wheeler. I'm not saying Walker Buehler is that guy mechanically, but definitely through experience, actually has more postseason experience than Wheeler does. So I'm okay with this move for the short term. The Phillies didn't sign him to a 10-year, multi-year contract. It's a depth move, a minor league deal, and they're going to try to get what they can out of him. And I don't, and coming off of the World Series last year, I mean, he signed that big contract with Boston, and it just hasn't worked out for him. He was moved to the bullpen. And now he's been moved to Philadelphia. So whatever he can give you at this point, whatever he can give me, when I look in the bullpen in a Game 5 situation, and I got a choice between him and Taijuan Walker, you know what? Maybe it gives me another option here. Maybe it's one too many options for Rob Thompson, but it's a win-win for me. Series should be tied at 2. A Trey Turner didn't hit the walk-off. Actually, I'll do you one better, man. There's a chance the Phillies lose 3 out of 4. Honestly. I mean, let's be realistic with ourselves. With the exception of Thursday's game, I mean, this was a pretty even series. So, be polite and say 2, a split, but I can make an argument where they lose 3 out of 4. Of course, every time I watch the Phillies on TV, they lose my luck is bad. With Buehler signing, is Taijuan Walker going to the bullpen, or Walker, or the Phillies going to a 6-man? They're going to a 6-man rotation. They've already said that. Buehler will go down to AAA, have one start there, and then I think he's penciled in for the September 12th start against Kansas City. So they are going to a 6-man rotation for the duration of the season, and then after that, we'll see what's up. I'm okay, Matt. The Mariners won. The Cheaters lost, a.k.a. Houston. Well, that's good. I'm glad the Mariners won. You're so funny. I'm so far behind on these, I don't even know what we're talking about. Would love to have seen Justin Crawford to help change some DNA. Yeah, Steve. And I had Jack Fritz on here the other night, and he was vehemently about Crawford will give you nothing more than what Marsh can provide you. I totally disagreed with him, obviously. And again, I make the argument that when you blew the rosters out to 40 back in the day, this would be an opportunity for a Justin Crawford to get a chance here. Aiden Miller maybe even come up here. I mean, if anything, it would be just fun to watch and see these guys at the major league level. But of course, they don't do that no more. So Justin Crawford will be. He's in my outfield of 2026. When I start building my big board here in about a month or 5 weeks, however long they last in the playoffs, and I start building my wish list and big board and putting together my fictitious 2026 Phillies lineup, Justin Crawford is starting in center field, 100%. But you're right. If they would have called him up earlier, I don't know. You're right. Would he have changed his DNA? I think he might have. He might have. So we won't. We don't know the answer to 2025. We'll just have to wait and see what 2026 has to provide. Phillies had the bases loaded with 1 out, and they could have scored more. I mean, I could tattoo that across my forehead, man. I'm actually happy that they got 1. Okay, I mean, there's been multiple times where they couldn't get any out of those situations. So Dombrowski said that Pretty Boy Stubbs will be part of the Phillies team in September with the extended roster. Yep. Garrett Stubbs is returning because he was so good in AAA this year that we need to carry a third catcher for the final month of the season. Again, I don't understand some of these moves. I know Dombrowski said it gives the Phillies the ability to potentially use JT off the bench as a pinch hitter. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Whatever. I don't know why we're carrying 3 catchers either. Was not expecting Schwarber to hit a triple. And I never thought I would trust Tanner. Yeah, either would I. I thought he was a decent move. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I didn't. I skipped ahead. Tanner Rank says, earn my trust. Was not expecting Schwarber, and then I'll never trust. I never thought I'd say that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Norrie, Crawford, and Miller definitely have a completely different approach to the game. I don't know if they translate to the future, but they look like solid picks. Yeah, they do. And Crawford should get his opportunity next year. Norrie a little bit further down the line. Miller could be a potential 2026 call-up later on in the season. I expect him to start the year in AAA next year and then kind of go from there with him. I mean, we'll see. It's frustrating now because, we can't really rely on any of those guys at this particular moment in time. And we've endured 5 months of this thing, and we're at the end. We're at the time of the season where it starts to really matter. And my confidence that this team is at an all-time low. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know, man. I don't think they're gonna win a World Series. And I don't know. I don't know the direction you go here from here. As I said, the offseason is going to be a messy one for the Phillies. They're going to have to make changes to this team because if they go internally and they re-sign all their internal draft free agents, it really sends a message to the fans that they're not interested in changing anything. And we start, going down the Daryl Morey slope here a little bit, and that's going to be even frustrating, more frustrating to deal with. Matt's was tell me, Ricky, you've been watching me in this team long enough. Robbie screwed Kirkering up, pitching him in the 5th one night, in the 8th, and well, listen, you can't really go down to those 2 instances. Robbie's been screwing up Kirkering for the last 3 years. You can't really go to one. I agree. Maybe part of Kirkering's problem is he doesn't know his role. And yeah, I mean, he's been used sort of in the 8th inning and 7th inning, but yes, we see him in the 5th, we see him in the 6th. Maybe that's part of Kirkering's. Maybe Kirkering needs somebody put his arm around him and say, you know what, bud, skipper, I'm not going to pitch you unless it's the 8th inning. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't adapt well to Rob Thompson's, Yahtzee bullpen. I don't know, man. It could be some stability he needs. Yeah, I agree, Papernick. I 100% agree. Walker Buehler costs us nothing. Pro rate minimum wage is all about margins with him. Yeah, and it's all about depth at this particular moment in time. We need an insurance piece, and I'll take it. Matt, what's wrong with the Phillies? Ricky, I don't know. I'm extremely excited to see Dante Newberry in Arizona Fall League this year. It could be very telling of where he starts next season. Yeah. Again, talking about the Arizona Fall League. Golly, man. The Miami Notre Dame game is good. That's right. College football is in full swing. I had to go back to 1981, Spartanburg Phils, to see a top 250-ish prospect stealing near 50 bases. Jeff Stone wants them. Well, yeah. It was the first time since they said it was the first time since 87, though, that a fighting Philly spiked 50 bases in one season. But all right, let's go over to the box score because we do got to go through this. I got some stuff I got to get through tonight. So Braves 3 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Phillies 1 run on 5 hits, no errors. Offensively, I mean, when you only scratch out 5 hits, Schwarber and Turner both were 1 for 4, and Marsh was 1 for 4. He had the lone Phillies run tonight, a home run. He also struck out 2 times, and that was really it. Offensively, again, collectively, the 2 for 5 hitters tonight in this lineup were a healthy 2 for 18 to go along with 1 for 16 yesterday, which adds up to a grand total of 3 for 34. For the Braves, Olsen 1 for 4, or 0 for 4 with the RBI, sorry. And then Harris, the big night, 2 hits. And of course, the biggest night of them all was Baldwin, who had the big pinch hit home run at the end there to blow it open 3-1 with the 2 RBIs. So offensive player of the night go to Drake Baldwin, who I do have 3 of his rookie cards, by the way. So hang in there, Baldwin. Pitching wise, we're not really making much of a conversation about Jesus Luzardo. Another bounce back. We talked about Sanchez having a good bounce back yesterday. It's equally impressive to say that Jesus Luzardo bounced back. 6.5, 2 hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts, but 104 pitches through those 6.5 innings. That's not good. That's not good at all. But he labored a little bit, but he got through it. But I'm not going to buy 104 pitches in 6.5 innings. But all in all, it was a very telling bounce back night for Luzardo. For the Braves, his opposite, Hurston Waldrep, had a pretty solid night too, but 5.5, 4 hits, a run, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts. Give up the homer to Marsh, and he also only went 102 pitches in 5.5 innings. I have 3 of his rookie cards too, so that's good news. But definitely a pitching battle tonight. Phillies didn't really do themselves any favors offensively, but it was a pitching battle. For the Braves, Burba, Dodd, Kinley, and Iglesias with the save tonight. His 23rd. The win goes to Kinley. Now 4-3. Luzardo does not factor into the decision, as Alvarado, rightfully so, will get the loss, as giving up the home run there in the top of the 9th inning. Scoring summary on this game, another short one. The score was nothing until Marsh homered in the 4th to make it 1-0, and it stayed that way into the 8th when Olsen would fielder's choice in Buran, making it 1-1, and then the Baldwin 2-run shot in the top of the 9th, making it 3-1, and that's your scoring summary. Phillies left 8 runners on base tonight. We're 1 for 6 runners scoring position. Braves left 7 on base, and we're 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and all that equals a Phillies loss. No more. We lose the momentum there. We don't get the sweep. Now we head to Milwaukee against a team that's chasing us. We're chasing them, trying to stay ahead of them in the, get the higher seed. Are the Phillies walking into another playoff-like environment in Milwaukee at Miller Park? Is this still Miller Park? I know it's not County Stadium anymore, but is it still Miller Park? Am I that far behind on the times? Very interesting series for the Phillies. Again, coming off of what happened against them in New York, they're potentially stepping back into another environment like that. And how do they react? And how do they react after kind of offensively sort of fizzling out over the last 3 games, even though they won 2 of them? How do they react? How do they react to going back into a high-pressure situation? And we'll find out tomorrow. And here you go, by the way. I didn't do any promos tonight. Here is the Fightins final for that Brewers series. Mike will have you on Monday and Wednesday. No game on Tuesday, as the Phillies will be playing on Labor Day, so they get Tuesday off. So Mike has you Monday, Wednesday. I have you on Thursday before heading down to South Florida against the Marlins, and that's your Fightins final Brewers series in a glance. Tomorrow's starters for the Phillies, I believe Walker is going, if I ain't mistaken. Yes, Walker will be opposed by Jacob Mizorowski. Interesting pitching battle. 4-10 start from County Stadium. I know, it's not County Stadium. Is it still Miller Park? Does the little guy still get on the slide with the beer? Is they still do that? Are they still in the American League? I mean, I get it. I'm a little behind. So there you go. Well, they might have signed Suarez back in the offseason because of the uncertainty of Wheeler. And that's my point, Papernick. It's going to be a messy offseason because I've heard arguments all season long, rightfully so, about re-signing Schwarber. Now I'm hearing the argument because of the uncertainty about Wheeler. Well, you may have to go and sign Suarez. And since the Phillies have now traded away any legitimate catching prospect they have within their organization, what are you doing but catcher next year? So you might have no choice but to go ahead and sign Real Muto. And if they do that, if they sign all three of those or re-sign all three of those players, is there any money left to actually go out and try to improve this ball club? No. So you're ringing the bell for running it back one more year. And as I said, you might be entering into Daryl Morey territory at this point. Because how much more do we got to see from this to know it doesn't work? So it's going to be a messy offseason either way, Papernick. Either they let these guys walk and try to restock the shelves differently, which will piss a lot of fans off, or sign all three of them, piss me off, or, I'm just saying it's going to be a messy offseason. And this is an offseason that I think, and I don't know if he even deserves this offseason based on what's happened, but if Dombrowski can't navigate off of these rocky shoals, man, this offseason, the window might close. And Dombrowski might be obviously in his last legs as president of the world, wherever the hell's title is over there. So it's going to be a very messy offseason for this team, either way. And a lot of big-time decisions are going to have to be made. A lot of decisions about the future of this era of Phillies baseball and the future of the club are going to be made in 2026 in the offseason. Phillies own the Mets. Yes, they do. LOL, overtime, maybe not in the last 162 games windows. We don't. I don't know. Again, I'm so far behind. I'm not even aware of what you're talking about, Steve. Matt, Barbara, how are you doing? I know you're not the biggest Kirkering guy. I still have faith in him. I still got faith in him. Something's just not clicking, man. And I don't know how to. I think Papernick brought it up. Maybe it's just that he needs a stable role. Maybe he needs to be told, you're pitching just the 8th inning or you're pitching just the 7th inning. Maybe he doesn't react well to the Yahtzee ballpen of Rob Thompson, every night not knowing what he's going to do. And I don't blame him if that's the case. But I agree. It's not been pretty lately. And especially at this time of the year, this is the last thing we need. Last friggin' thing we need to be worried about a late inning option reliever as we head into the September run. Phillies just buy every player available. That's their strategy. Buehler is the latest. Yeah, but Buehler's come on, guys. Back off a little bit. The Walker Buehler trade is a win-win. I mean, it's a depth move. It's not long term. This guy's got postseason experience. I'm okay with this move. Who the hell else is out there? I mean, it's a minor league deal. He's not signing this big multi-dollar contract. I'm okay with this move for what it is on the surface. All right. I guess it's time to go to the ride the Broad Street bottom line. I mentioned the Broad Street bottom, or actually, before I do that, let's go through the Broad Street bottom line tonight on the It's Rap Sports Network on the Fighting's Final is brought to you by the fine folks here at the It's Rap Sports Network, creators of such programming as the Birds Flyby. And yes. What are we? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days away and counting. The 2025 Eagles season will begin Thursday night, 8:30 from the Link, Eagles and Cowboys. And we will have you covered from that game until the bitter end of the 2025-26 NFL season. So join Steve Fuentes and a cast of many as people will be in and out all season long for the Birds Flyby, the official Eagles postgame show here on the It's Rap Sports Network. And when you're done with that one, make sure you tune in every Saturday or Thursday or Friday or whenever the hell else they play for our new show, the Happy Valley Huddle, a Penn State football postgame show hosted by Mike Lauro, as Mike will have you covered for all that happens in Nittany Lion Nation from now until hopefully the BCS National Championship game sometime in early January. And then follow that up with some quintessential Eagle pregame entertainment with WIP's Kyle Quinn and the Birds Blast. Join me and Kyle every week starting on Tuesday at 7 for a very interesting breakdown of what the Eagles will be facing and what the Eagles just faced. Now, on this episode coming up, our season 6 premiere on Tuesday, you get the season premiere extravaganza episode. You get the episode where me and Kyle not only break down Eagles boys, but we'll break down the NFL for you too. Give you our picks, our first place divisional winners, our last place divisional winners, our wild card picks, our division championship matchups, our Super Bowl matchup, and yes, even our Super Bowl champion prediction. That's on the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn every I don't know what day it's going to be on, to be quite honest with you, as we move through the season. Well, I'll figure that out with him at some point on Tuesday. Typically, it's between Wednesday and Saturday of that week. And the reason why I say that is because you got a lot of these episodes, especially as we get deeper into the season, become very fluid with scheduling changes. So, but it will happen every week, I promise you. So make sure you're in for the Birds Blast with WIP's Kyle Quinn, season 6 premiere on Tuesday at 7 p.m. I cannot believe it's already that time. And also premiering this week on Wednesday at 7 in its new home and time. Props, locks, and parlays with Mike Laro. No pressure sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Join Mike as he will give you the proppiest of the prop, the lockiest of the lock, and the par of the parlay every week in college and pro football, every Wednesday at 7 here on the network. And all the other great programming here on It's a Wrap Sports that we typically have, like this one, the final word with Matty B. No show tonight, folks, as I'm here on post-game duties. I will return to my post tomorrow night at 10, and we'll do what we do on the final word. Of course, that is your day in Philadelphia sports history, your of the night segment, and your card review. All that great stuff and more on the final word with Matty B. Every Friday at 10:30, join Pat Bernard or Pat Bernard du jour, as we're still waiting for Pat's triumphant return from the land of the internet. And I think Mike Lauro will have it again this Friday for the wraparound every Friday at 10:30. And then start your week, your day, your Sunday, all that off in style with the PNM and the AM program every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. So there you go. A lot going on here on the network, especially as we get ready and get set for some Eagles football. Now, my Broad Street bottom line. I almost forgot what I was doing after I went into that lengthy promo. 2 for 18. Runners 2 through 5 in your lineup, 2 for 18. Yesterday, they were 1 for 16. Collectively, 3 for 34 over the last 2 games, and 88 batting average. Just ain't doing it. Just ain't never going to do it. I don't care if they won yesterday or not. You're just not going to do it consistently doing that. And all too often, too many times, it's been like that when it comes to the middle of the Phillies lineup this year. It has. And it's probably number 1 on the list of offensive problems with this team. The inability of the heart of the lineup to actually have a heartbeat. So if you're going to go 2 for 18 with your numbers 2 through 5 hitters, don't be upset when you don't win. And there you go. There's your Broad Street bottom line. And now it's time to go around the bases. On the bases on this beautiful Sunday night, Labor Day weekend 2025. All games have gone final in MLB, so let's go rapid fire. Out in Cincinnati, it was 7-4 Reds over the Cardinals. In Minnesota, it was the Twins all over the Padres, 7-2. In Beantown, 5-2 Red Sox over the Pirates. It was 7-4 Tampa over the Washington Nationals, 8-4 Blue Jays over the Brewers. So the Brewers flying back to Milwaukee tonight. Maybe a little pissed off that they lost to the Blue Jays. Something they lose 2 out of 3. Up there in at Citi Field, it was 5-1. Marlins over the Mets, right? Yeah. So we failed to take advantage of an opportunity there. So Marlins did their job. We just didn't do ours. 4-2 Seattle over the Guardians. It was 3-0 the Angels blanking the Astros, and it was 5-0 Detroit over Kansas City, 3-2 White Sox over the Yankees, 6-5 Rockies over the Cubs, 13-2 Giants all over the Orioles, and it was 9-6 Rangers over the A's, and the Dodgers edge out the Diamondbacks 5-4. And there's your scores on this Labor Day night, or Labor Day weekend night, 2025 around Major League Baseball. Let's get back to the comments. Minor league deal. LU was signed to pitch against the Mets in the playoffs. Now he signed to pitch against anybody in the playoffs, Barbara. Fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah. The NFL couldn't have picked an easier game for the Eagles, even if the Parsons was there. Yeah, we're going to get into that this week. I've already kind of started that with the, it is Dallas week. One, it's a waste of a Dallas week because it's week 1. I mean, who the hell? I would much rather. We only have 8 home games to begin with this year. Well, I don't want to burn one against the Dallas Cowboys on week 1. Rather have that one later in the season. And I much would have preferred to watch the Eagles play the Lions or the Eagles and Rams go at it in week 1. That would have been a better draw. It would have been more entertaining. It would have been more fun. There should be no divisional games on week 1 across the board. That's just ridiculous to me. And it's Dallas week. Does anybody care? Does anybody even know anymore? Does that even hit the same way as it used to? I don't think it does. In order for Dallas week to work for me, it's got to be a different generation of soft ass people, because this generation is terrible. 1 and 2, the Eagles got to be bad and the Cowboys got to be good. I mean, that to me is the recipe for a hard hitting Dallas week. But does anybody care that it's Dallas week? Is it a waste of a Dallas week? I think it is, and I'm upset about it. But we got to go to what we got to go. My Broad Street bottom line is I hear the Phillies shouldn't worry about the Mets, but in the last 20 games, the Phillies are 6-14 against the Mets. No, listen, Kaepernick, here's the deal. Absolutely should worry about the Mets. 100%. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried about the Mets specifically, okay? I'm not. What I am worried about is the pressure situations, whether it be against the Mets or anybody else. You can probably insert any team into the playoff scenario, and it still scares the hell out of me. This team does not perform well under pressure. It hasn't in this era, and I don't know when they're going to start, and I don't think they're capable of doing it, honestly. And that's okay. You have to make changes in order to get there, but they're not doing that. But I'm not worried about the Mets per se specifically. I'm worried about playing in specific high pressure moments. Now, the Mets are coming here, next week, week after, for 4? We'll see, right? But again, I want to be careful, because I know a lot of Phillies fans out there are trying to get themselves to sleep at night by saying, well, so we don't play well at Citi Field. Nobody plays well at Citi Field. Everybody's struggling on the road. I mean, it's ridiculousness of trying to homer your way through this. I can't even listen to it, but it's the pressure of the playoffs for me. It's the pressure of trying to perform under that pressure. And this team just doesn't have the ability, or has not shown the ability, to ever do that. You can put the Mets in there. You can put whoever you want in there. I mean, they folded against the Diamondbacks. They folded against the Astros, and they folded against the Mets. So to me, it's really, pick your poison here. But I'm not worried about the Mets specifically. The Mets are an inferior team than the Phillies. The Phillies are better than the Mets. They are. It's just the pressure thing, to me, is what I have issues with. And I didn't even mention tonight. How did I get through the entire show? And Barbara's talking about, the story on Harper by now. How did I get the entire show and did not mention the blown, yet again, double play attempt by Bryce Harper at first? How did you guys let me get this deep into this show without addressing that? What's it now? The second time within a week that he has failed to execute a rundown with the runner coming down the line at first? Could somebody pull him aside and teach him the basic mechanic on how to execute a rundown as first baseman? Okay. Don't fake the throw the ball down to second, get back to first, and run the runner down. What are we doing here? All right. It's comical to see them two out there, Stott and Harper, try to run a runner down. You know, it's almost, here's something, a strategy that a team might try. Purposely get caught in a rundown to try to advance to second. I don't know. But now they've failed to execute 2 rundowns comically, like Little League bad. Has anybody got any comments about that? I mean, it's terrible. Oh man, I feel like the final word better than the Phillies postgame. Oh man, I like the final word better than the Phillies. Well, come on, Barbara. I'm hosting the Phillies postgame right now. Come on, I hurt my feelings. Phillies will 2-peat. No, they won't. Orion faced the bottom of the order, and he got as many outs as I did. Maddie, for the last time, the Mets have no pitching. I agree. But I did sell a Nolan McLean baseball card for $20. 1 hour after I posted it, right after the game the other night. It was his rookie card that came from the Syracuse Mets promotional cards that they put out this year. Put it up on eBay, and it was sold in 1 hour for $20. Shrewd business deal, of course, unless Nolan McLean goes on to become the next Cy Young. Then I got hosed out of probably about $1 million baseball card for $20. But I think it's a shrewd business deal. Striking while the iron is hot. But all right. But yeah, somebody teach Bryce Harper how to conduct a rundown. Wow, he has a card right. No. So I went over this the other night. Minor league baseball teams, anywhere, doesn't matter, baseball, whatever. They do a promotional item giveaway every year where they have baseball cards of their team. And if you're serious about getting into card collecting or even dipping your feet into it, be on the lookout for these promotions. Like all the teams do it at least once a year. And it's at baseball. It's not Topps. It's an off-market card company, but they produce baseball cards of their players, and you can fall into a card, a minor league baseball card, or a minor league hockey card, or a basketball card, or a football card that could be worth millions of dollars if this player goes on to have a Hall of Fame career. And I happen to have or had a Nolan McLean 2025 Syracuse Mets baseball card. And put it up on the internet the day after that game, and I sold it for $20 inside of an hour. Again, a shrewd deal unless he goes on and actually is the real deal. And then I just walked away from $1 million baseball card. But be on the lookout for those promotional giveaways. All the baseball teams do it, minor league wise. Hockey does it, all those types of things. I want that Skeens card. Well, actually, it's in PNC Park now. The $1.11 million Paul Skeens 2024 Topps Auto Update Series Chrome Relic. Sold on the Fanatic website last year for $1.1 million at auction. Somehow, the Pittsburgh Pirates got their hands on it. After all of that, the Pittsburgh Pirates got their hands on it, created a shrine to it inside of PNC Park. It is on display in PNC Park. Go ahead and check it out if you're ever out there. But all right, let's get on to Sunday night business. As we're wrapping up almost an hour worth of postgame, it is time for us to take our weekly trip down on the Phillies farm. Now, we are getting to the end of both the Major League and minor league baseball seasons. Of course, the FCL Phillies, the Phillies Rookie League affiliate, has long since ended their season, but the low A, high A, double A, and triple A teams are also coming down the home stretch, and it's time for us to go back down on the Phillies farm for this week. Let's start our trip every week as we do in low A with the Thrashers. This week, the Clearwater Thrashers, not a good week, as this is the lone team in the Phillies minor league system that is battling right now for a legitimate shot at the playoffs out there in the Florida Coast League. Not Florida Coast League. What the hell league are they in? I'm going to go into it right here. Florida State League. God damn. They are currently, as of tonight, they are holding on to first place, or they're technically in second place, but because Lakeland, the Tigers low A affiliate, won the first half Western Division Florida State League championship, they can't win the second half. So the next team in line would be the Thrashers, who are currently holding a 3.5 game lead over Bradenton, the Pirates low A team. So as we come down the stretch, Clearwater would be, if the season were to end today, they would get into the playoffs and they would battle Lakeland in the divisional Western Florida State League playoffs. And in the East, it would be St. Lucie versus Daytona. And then the winner would battle for the two winners would battle for the Florida State League championship. So Clearwater right now with about, I guess, what would you say? I don't know, 12 games or so, 14, 16, 18 games left to go in the season, have a 3.5 game lead over Bradenton in the standings. Again, for the week, not a good week, 1-4. Your player of the week, though, Jonathan Hoggard, a second straight week of player of the week honors for the young outfielder. 4 games, 7 hits, 5 runs, 1 homer, and 3 RBIs. And your pitcher of the week, we've talked about him before, Ryan Degas. 1 game, no wins, 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a 4.50 ERA. 31-23 so far in the second half of their season. And again, a very not a good week, 1-4 for the Threshers as they're battling for a playoff spot. Now on up to high A to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws, 4-3 on the week. Raylan Heredia, again, another player showing up for a second straight week of player of the week honors. 4 games, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 homers, and 7 RBIs for the young outfielder. Your pitcher of the week, no surprise here for a second straight week as well. Mavis Graves game, 1 win, 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 0.00 ERA. 31-22 are the Blue Claws as they are battling it out there in the South Atlantic League. Now, where they come in all this is they are currently 7.5 games out of first place, chasing both Hudson Valley and Greensboro. So mathematically, yeah, they're still in it, but they can't endure a 1-4 week or even a 4-3 week. They got to play almost perfect baseball to even get a shot at this. They did not win the first half championship. So an outside chance for the Blue Claws to try to sneak in. I don't think they're going to do it. Just don't have too much time left. On to Double-A, and there's no getting around this one. It's been a terrible season for the Fighting Phillies. They're not even in the playoff picture, but we can relegate ourselves to talking about individual honors. Felix Reyes, your player of the week, 6 games, 6 hits, 4 runs, a homer, and 3 RBIs, and climbing back into relevancy, your Eastern League pitcher of the week, the final week of August, Griff McGarry. 2 games started, a win, 8.2 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 11 strikeouts, and 5 walks with a healthy 5.19 ERA. But it's the command that you got to look at here. You got 11 strikeouts over 2 games and 8 innings. Now, the walks, a little bit up. But Griff McGarry, a good news story coming out of Double-A this year, as he was once talked about in the same breath of Andrew Painter and Mick Abel, fell off, but has scratched and clawed his way back into relevancy and should be an interesting pitcher next year in AAA. I think he gets back to AAA next year. I think they send him back. And it'll be interesting to keep an eye on his continued ascension, hopefully back to the major leagues or to the major leagues. So really good seeing that from Griff. 2-5 were the Reading Phillies over the week, and 24-33. I'm not going over where they stand in this. They're about 15 games out of first place, so they're not really relevant. And that takes us finally to Allentown and your Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, your player of the week, Gabriel Raconis Jr., 5 games, 9 hits, 10 runs, 4 homers, and 10 RBIs. That's right, folks. In 5 games. He went off in one of the most productive weeks of any minor league player that we have profiled on this segment in the 2 years that we've done this segment. I don't remember ever seeing 10 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 9 hits for a player in just 5 games of work. Raconis, I'm telling you. He even looks a little bit like a young Nick Castellanos. I would not be surprised that right field is manned by this young man next year or the year after that, or he is the right fielder of the future, as he silently just goes about his business down in Lehigh Valley. Never gets talked about. He's talked about it in afterthoughts. He's talked about it, well, don't forget about him either. But he just goes about his business, and he's making a case for himself every year, every week. He had a strong camp this past spring in with the Phillies. You're going to have to give him his chance soon. He's earned it, man. He has earned it. He's been one of my favorite players to keep an eye on. And, you know, when you go through a 5-game period where you get 9 hits, score 10 runs, hit 4 homers, and drive in 10 runs, how much more do we have to see? And again, this kind of goes with that whole back when they blew the rosters out to 40. This would be a player that you would definitely send up to see how he could do in the major league level for the final month of the season. But it is getting to a point where the Phillies really going to have to make a decision about him. I thought, honestly, he was going to get traded this summer. I thought he was going to be part of a deal, but he wasn't. You know, the relationship seems to be ending with Nick Castellanos in a very bitter way with the Phillies. You know, if the Phillies go ahead and try to have to re-sign all their internal options, if they throw the money down the table and say, we're going after Schwarber, Suarez, and Real Muto, and they're not going to have much money left, you're going to need a Gabriel Raconis. You're going to need a Justin Crawford to step up next year if you want to change the DNA of this team, because they're going to be the only options you have internally. So do the Phillies go that route? And I'm okay if they do, honestly. I honestly am, because I'm eager to see what he would do at the major league level. He's a good-looking player, constantly batting well above average. And he's got some pop. He got some contact to his bat. And I definitely can see him patrolling right field for years to come in Philadelphia. Your pitcher of the week was Alan Rangel, the much maligned Adam Rangel. 2 games, 9 innings, 10 hits, 11 strikeouts, 7 earned runs, 4 walks, and a 7 ERA. That was the best that any pitcher did. The Pigs were 6-1 for the week, 29-24, as they sort of played themselves back into it a little bit. But they're kind of on the outside looking in. Let's see where they're at. They are currently in 5th place, 7.5 games behind Scranton. So mathematically, there's a chance. It's not over yet, but it's getting late for the Pigs to make a push. And there you have it, man. There's our walk through the minor leagues on this Labor Day weekend as we get closer to the end of it all. The end of it all. Otto Kemp is back on the farm. Yes, he is, and he had a good week last week. Papadakis says good show. Thank you. I would move Kemp in off season because he has no future yet. Yeah. Twins moved Abel to the bullpen. He's another failure. I don't know. I don't know. He's call him a failure at this point. He's not our failure. We got a decent reliever for him, but I don't know. I always think about what could be with players like Mick Abel. But that's not our problem anymore. Folks, listen, that's going to do it for me tonight. I want to wish you guys a happy Labor Day tomorrow. Enjoy your day off for those of you that have day jobs. I'm not one of you, so I'm sorry. I'm still going to enjoy it, though, because I've earned it. And don't forget, we're not taking the day off. We'll be back tomorrow with both the Fightins final and the Final Word will both be on and seen at its regular scheduled time tomorrow, as we will carry you through your Labor Day and get you ready for your work week. So enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your holiday. And we'll talk tomorrow. Take care.